Alright guys, so here we go. We're going to do a little assembly for you guys, and it's been a while since we've done one of these, but this time we have a Broad River Tactical CAR-15 SD handguard and barrel setup that we're going to put on a Bear Creek Arsenal bufferless 9mm upper. It's a lot of words. Let's get into it though. It's going to be fun. Let's do it. Alright, so let's describe the system real quick. We kind of already said what this thing is, the Broad River Tactical CAR-15 SD. What makes this thing different? As far as assembly, there's not really any difference between just assembling a standard upper. But talking about the pieces themselves, this is a specific kind of barrel that is designed and made to neuter down standard full velocity ammo and make it subsonic. So this barrel that has all those little holes in it right there, basically when the projectile goes, or when the cartridge goes off and starts pushing that projectile down the barrel, once it passes these ports here, those gases vent or hemorrhage or escape out of these little holes, and they stop accelerating that projectile, right? So that projectile is not supposed to be able to reach supersonic speeds. So again, you take standard 115 or 124 grain ammo, just standard bulk pack stuff, and it's supposed to be able to take that and dummy the velocities down to subsonic levels. As we know, and maybe you don't know, when you go to suppress a firearm, you have to the suppressor suppresses the sound of the explosion, right? The sound of the cartridge going off, right? The suppressor does not do anything for the supersonic crack of that projectile if it's going, you know, supersonic speeds, obviously. So what this does is, again, for the third time, it allows you to use standard supersonic ammo, which is generally cheaper, because that's just standard ammo, and it allows the system to dummy that ammo down to subsonic levels. So that's kind of the cool thing about it. This is famously known in the MP5 SD, right? And I believe SD just stands for suppressed, but the MP5 SD has an extremely similar pattern of ports right here, which it does the exact same thing, dummies down those rounds. So Broad River Tactical has these barrels. This is a regular direct blowback barrel. They also have one that works with the CMMG radio delayed bolt carrier group, which that is a delayed action system, which again helps in a whole bunch of other stuff, but we won't so much get into that. But it does help the system recoil softer, and it makes the system a little bit quieter because it forces more gases out the barrel instead of out the ejection port. So there we go. We kind of talked about it, but that gets into nerdy stuff that I just know enough to get myself in trouble about. But this is a direct blowback version that they have. The handguard that they have looks just like this. This operates off of a barrel nut that you do have to time. If I was to have a con with this system, it's that you have to time the barrel nut. I absolutely do not like having to time barrel nuts, because it seems like inevitably every single time I have to time one, meaning it has to be rotated in the correct orientation, it just becomes a pain in the butt for me. That usually takes twice as long to find the correct, you know, feng shui of shims and spacers and everything to get it lined up. It takes twice as long to do that as it does just to put the whole upper together. It really, I don't like those. I kind of understand why he did it, because he needed to use this kind of a handguard, but still, I really don't like those. But I think we have the correct number of spacers and stuff in here. And if you buy a kit from them, it does come with a shim set, right? So it does come with one. So hopefully, depending on your upper receiver and your barrel and the combination of everything with the provided shims, you should be able to time the muzzle, or not the muzzle device, time the barrel nut, right? This is the MP5 SD handguard shell. Might be what you call it. It's basically rubbery outside with, and it's I don't know if it's wrapped or how exactly it is adhered to a metal core on the inside. Now, there's been some people that when you go to install this, at the end will install it, but if you take this and just bend it open like a taco, just bend it open, you can bend this, and it goes from being shaped like this to being shaped like this. And people don't like that, and obviously you don't like that because it's not going to stay on the gun very well. However, I'm going to show you when we go to put this thing all together a better, proper way to put this thing on. It's very simple. It's not hard, and once it's on, it's on. You don't really need to worry about it. So, without further ado, let's just hit the main points as we get this thing put together and put it together real quick for you, right? Let's do it. Alright, so first thing is the barrel. We're going to take the barrel itself, stick that guy in here. There is no little notch to match up with the upper receiver because this does not have that chamber, that star chamber. This is just all the way around, standard, nothing crazy about it, very simple. So just throw that guy on there. For sake of everything, we'll just line the words up right here. We're going to take a little bit of anti-seize. I highly recommend you do this. Take a little bit of anti-seize, and we're going to put that on the threads of our barrel nut. And as we thread and screw this guy on, he's going to spread that anti-seize around. As we said earlier, we already put the proper amount of shims in here so that it will line up properly. Alright, so once that guy is properly timed and tightened, make sure you follow proper torque specs to make sure everything's going to be good. Once that guy's timed and tightened, then we can go ahead and put on our handguard. Now, handguard is going to use 8 different Torx screws. It's going to go in here. It would be a good idea to use Loctite. I might be taking this thing off later for different things, so I may not be using Loctite, but if you're putting this on permanently or semi-permanently, I would recommend using some Loctite. Alright, once you've got those in, I like to use kind of a star pattern, or like you use on a lug nuts on a car, to go ahead and tighten these guys up. Just little by little, kind of bounce across and tighten everything up. Nice and snug. Do not go crazy. These are screwing into an aluminum barrel nut. You don't want to strip anything out. Alright, now that this guy is on, I mean, he could be shot kind of like this if you put a suppressor on it. Do not shoot it like this without a suppressor, because you have those ports, and those ports are going to be like a compensator or a brake, and it would fry your hand pretty bad. Don't do that. Don't do that. Make sure you shoot this with a suppressor. Don't shoot it without a suppressor. Now, this handguard sleeve, as you can see, we have these 2 brass pins that are on the underside of the handguard. If you can see, hopefully you can, there's some dark spots in here. There's some cutouts for those 2 different indexing notches. So the best way, really, to put this handguard on is to slightly open up. You can open it up a little bit to fit the sleeve over the handguard. Once it's over the handguard like that, stop trying to open it up and simply guide it, feed it back. You might have to get it over some of those the screws that hold the handguard on, and then you might again have to get it past that notch right here, that last one. Once it's over there, now listen. Once he clicks into place like that, he's in. He's not coming out. And unless you do a 5,000 round burn down, I don't think 9mm is going to get that hot. So if you did several hundred rounds of full auto 9mm with the suppressor, it might get hot. I mean, it will get hot. But it's not going to get so hot that the heat's going to mess things up and the handguard's going to come off. This guy's on there. He's not coming off. That's the best way to install this. We don't really, I wouldn't recommend, and neither does the owner of Broad River Tactical. He does not recommend that you open up that handguard sleeve and stick it over. Don't do it that way. Slide it over, and all the jokes that apply there. Slide it over like you regularly would. We'll leave it with that. Alright, so there you go. That is the installation of the Broad River Tactical handguard and barrel. There would be no difference if you had the CMMG radio delay bolt carrier, or if you use the model that uses that radio delay bolt carrier, it would be no different. The only slight difference is the barrel itself. It has that indexing notch. You just need to make sure you have that indexing notch indexed on the upper receiver. Alright, so from this point, it's just up to you. What do you want to put on here as far as sights and all those different kind of things? The world's your oyster. You get to put on whatever you want to put on. I got some knockoff look-alike MP5 sights. I'll put those on and just play around with different optics and different things if I want to. If you wanted to put lights and lasers on here, you still have your top rail that you can use. This is not the most high-speed, low-drag, efficient attachment system, right? Obviously, because you gave up all your attachment systems on the side. This is more of a nostalgic look-alike to an MP5 SD. Alright, so there you go. I hope you found it interesting. Hope you found it helpful. If you got any questions about either installing this system or this system overall in general, please let me know. I'd love to either answer your questions if I can, or reach out to Chris over there at Broad River Tactical and find out that information for you guys. Alright? Again, appreciate you guys watching. Hope you found it interesting. Hopefully we'll catch you guys in the next video. See ya.